One of my favorite things about life in Spain is vida de barrio. Here in Barcelona and in every other place I've lived in Spain, people live in flats, so there's a lot of people in a small area, and you walk out of the house and you have shops everywhere, and there's small businesses. You can form a relationship with people in these shops. So today we're going to talk about the names of all of the different shops. Also, we're going to do some professions. I highly recommend that if you are in Spain for any length of time, you go to your local market and you go to your little shops. Don't just buy everything at the supermarket, but go around, form a relationship with people, learn some vocabulary, talking to your fishmonger or whatever. You'll have a great time. It'll be a genuine, authentic cultural experience. So today we've got words like panadería, pescadería, carnicería, frutería, etc. I'm also going to talk about the names of the professions. Really what we're talking about here are suffixes. We've got, the word pan that changes to panadería and panadero. We'll talk about exactly what we're doing there in a moment. Hey everybody, it's Daniel. Welcome back to my sofa in beautiful Barcelona. This is Learn Spanish with Daniel, and we are going to talk about vocabulary for stores and shops, also professions, also the suffixes we use to form these things. That's the topic of the day. First, we've got panadería. This is the one I mentioned in the intro. Pan is bread. Panadería is a bakery. Pretty easy. Talking about that, we also have pastelería. A lot of pastelerias are also panaderias. Pastel is cake. Pastelería is a cake shop. So this ia suffix tends to indicate a place where something is made or can be purchased. These days, a lot of time your bread might not be made literally inside the bakery, but, we're talking about the historical fact that bakeries are where bread was made. We've got frutería. Frutería is a fruit shop. Frutería. The fruit isn't, made there, but it is sold there. We have cervecería. Cervecería is a bar, a beer bar, basically. Cervecería. Cerveza, cervecería. Whether or not the cervecería makes beer is also an open question. Some of them might. We have cafetería. Cafetería is a cafe. There's a lot of kinds of cafe, and there's also the fact that a lot of places might be bar cafetería or cervecería cafetería. They might have both things on the sign. They're open all day and they're doing various things. Carnicería is a butcher. Carne is meat. Carnicería is a butcher. I didn't write this down, but pollería. Sometimes you have very specific shops. Like in my municipal market here in Barcelona, I go to a carnicería for beef and, sometimes lamb. And then I go to a pollería. My pollería is a, chicken lady, a chicken shop. Pollería, pollo, pollería. Be careful with pollo and polla, because polla is something completely different than pollo. We all have Google now. You can just Google it if you want to. So carnicería for a butcher, pollería for a chicken shop. Sometimes there is overlap between these things. Sometimes, you have to go to one place for pork and another place for beef and another place for chicken. That's what I do most of the time. Charcutería. Charcutería is a word that comes from French. As far as I know, there's nothing called charcut in Spanish. But charcutería is the place where you buy cured meats, ham, sausages, and things like that. In my specific municipal market, if I want to get fresh pork, that's also at the charcutería. So I've got the charcutería, the carnicería, and the pollería all right next to each other. Behind that is the pescadería. Pescadería is for pescado. Pescado is fish. Pescadería is the fishmonger. The word monger doesn't sound great in American English. The fish vendor, the person who sells fish, the fish market. Fish market sounds like a larger institution. We're just talking about, a lady at a stall where she's got some ice and she's got fish lying on top of the ice. It's a pescaderia. Here in Barcelona, it's worth mentioning that the names of a lot of these things might also be in Catalan. So I go to a place called Peixos Biqui. Peixos Biqui, the lady is named Biqui, and peixos is the Catalan word for fish. But everybody here understands Spanish. If you, ask where can I find a pescaderia, everybody will know what you're talking about. Okay, so I'm doing these out of order from my paper, and it's already confusing me. Heladeria is an ice cream store. Helado is ice cream. Heladeria is an ice cream store. Peluqueria. Peluqueria is a hairstylist. Peluqueria. Peluqueria, barberia. Barberia comes from barba, which is beard. A barberia will do men's stuff and also beards. Peluqueria will do maybe men or women or both. Look inside the door of the place and try to figure out what's going on. But yeah, pelo is hair and peluqueria. Libreria. Libreria is a bookshop. Libro is a book. Libreria is a bookshop. Arroceria. This is pretty specific. This is pretty specific to Spain. Arroceria is a restaurant that makes rice dishes. Paella, etc. There's paella and then there's arroz con cosas, which is not paella. It's a whole, the Spanish culture war about what is paella and what is not paella. So an arroceria is a rice restaurant, a restaurant that will serve various types of rice dishes. You can get the traditional paella or you can get other things, if it has costilla de cerdo or something in it, it's probably just an arroz con cosas. A costilla de cerdo is pork ribs. You can get, rice with various types of things if you're looking into different rice dishes outside of paella. Here's a good one. Farmacia. You're looking at all of these with the ia on the end, and you're thinking ia. Farmacia actually has the strong syllable on a. Farmacia. It is not farmacia. It is farmacia. Farmacia is a pharmacy, obviously. We spell it with the F in Spanish. The PH combination doesn't exist in Spanish. They have PS for psicología and things like that, but no PH. So farmacia is a pharmacy. Floristeria is a florist. Flor is a flower. Floristeria is the florist. No problem there. We have joyeria. Una joya is a jewel. Joyeria is a jeweler. Una joyeria. We have lavanderia. Lavanderia is a laundromat. Comes from the verb lavar, I guess. Lavar is to wash something. Lavanderia. So in that case, it's not a product, it's a service, but yeah, lavanderia. Tintoreria is a dry cleaner. These days, it's a dry cleaner. You could also see it called limpieza en seco. The word tintoreria comes from the fact that a long time ago, these places would also dye your clothes for you. Tinte is dye, D-Y-E, dye. Tinte. So tintoreria, the implication is that they will dye fabrics for you. These days, I don't know if they actually offer that service. Like the number of times I've been in a dry cleaner in my life is, one, I believe. So I'm not really sure, but tintoreria, they have them around the neighborhood. Perfumeria is a perfume shop. Perfumeria. Ooh, another one that I'm just thinking of now. Drogeria. I don't know what drogeria comes from because drogas would be drugs, but like the illegal kind most of the time. If you want, prescription drugs, you go to a farmacia. Drogeria has a lot of like cleaning products and stuff like that. Una drogeria. Your local drogeria might also have paint and things like that, like, small amounts of paint. You could go to a paint store. Una tienda de pinturas. I have one right around the corner here. Tienda de pinturas is like a large paint store, but if you want to go to a drogueria for small amounts of paint, you could do that. I think drogueria, just comes from 500 years ago that drugs and other various chemicals were all sold in the same place. And then, the different kinds of shops and the vocabulary also sort of separated through the centuries. So now we've got farmacia, we've got drogueria, and, perfumeria. Perfumeria, as I said, is a perfume shop. We've got zapateria. Zapateria is a shoe store. Zapato, un zapato, dos zapatos, una zapateria, a shoe shop. Papeleria sells paper products, is a stationery store, paper products. Back in the day, your papelerias would sell a lot of newspapers and magazines and stuff like that. Now they still have magazines and, a few newspapers, but it's not a big deal anymore. But yeah, papeleria is a paper shop, paper goods. Sometimes they have books also, but if I need like notebooks and pencils and stuff like that, papeleria. So most of these words have the ia suffix at the end, which refers to a place where you buy something. The suffix ero or era often refers to the person who has that profession. So for example, carnicero is a butcher. Carnicería is the shop, and carne is the meat. So you have frutero would be the fruit vendor, frutero. You have pastelero, which would be the cake maker, the pastry chef possibly, if we're being fancy, the pastelero. Some of these, is a person who makes helado. Is he an heladero? Maybe. We have feminine versions of a lot of these also. For example, here in Barcelona, most of the butchers are women. I'm not really sure why, but la carnicera, I guess is what you would say. El peluquero or la peluquera, no problem. Male barbers and female barbers, male hairstylists and female hairstylists is more accurate. With pescado, we have different professions because pescador is the fisherman. Pescadero is the person who sells the fish. Pescaderia is the place. We have zapatero, which is a shoemaker. Zapatero, it's also a last name. We had a prime minister named Zapatero many years ago. Joyero is a jeweler. Joyero. Charcutero is a cured meat guy. Panadero is a baker, etc. So there's a lot we can do with this vocabulary. It's interesting to see how the vocabulary, changes when you add different suffixes. You can, learn one base word and then infer a lot of different meanings using the different suffixes. So that's a fun thing about language that I like. Ooh, one that I didn't mention, vinoteca. Since we're talking about suffixes, vinoteca is like a wine shop. The teca suffix is the same as in biblioteca. So vinoteca I understand to be sort of like a wine library because they've got a lot of things just kind of sitting there on shelves. They're not making it there. You would make it at a bodega or something like that. A winery is a bodega. But yeah, a vinoteca, we have other words ending in teca, like biblioteca that I mentioned. Pinacoteca is a museum, a place full of paintings, is a pinacoteca, more specifically. Filmoteca is a place where they, archive old movies, and they usually have like a cinema there where they will show random old movies. Filmoteca. So that's your bonus suffix today, the teca suffix. Subscribe to the channel for a lot more. I have videos about masculine and feminine if you want to know more about the gender issue. Panadero or panadera is just an example. It goes a lot deeper than that. There's a lot more we can say about it. I also have a video about fish and shellfish. I'll put a link around here somewhere. Fish and shellfish is a lot of vocabulary talking about the different types of fish. They take seafood very seriously here. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, listen to my podcast, Spain to Go. It's here on YouTube. It's also everywhere else. Spain to Go. We have, I think, 114 episodes at this point. I'm making more pretty much every week. This week I'm taking a week off because last week's episode took a lot out of me. But we're here on YouTube. Anyway, thanks for watching, listening, etc. I hope you have a great day wherever you are. Until next time, hasta la próxima. Bye.